Well, welcome everybody. I'm Suzanne Klasen, and we want to thank you so much for coming to our webinar on Aurora Expeditions and their wonderful cruise to Svalbard. We are Suzanne, and then my husband Steve is helping me out on the other screen, and we are owners of CruiseOne in Show Low, Arizona. So without further ado, let's just get into the presentation. So we're going to talk to you very briefly about our agency and what we're all about. Then we're going to talk about the whole Aurora Expeditions experience in Svalbard. We have done it before. We just got back from an amazing experience doing the Northwest Passage with them. And then we're going to share some highlights of our 2023 Svalbard cruise, so you can kind of get an idea of what to expect. And then we'll talk about our exclusive discounts and pricing. So let's just get going. So if you're new to me, maybe you just found us through some of the advertising that we do. We are a very proactive agency. We look for opportunities to offer the best value and the best extraordinary itineraries for our clients. And we're proactive. We go out and negotiate these prices with the suppliers and pass those savings on to you, so you can not only enjoy an amazing experience that we are knowledgeable about and can recommend, but also we get you some exclusive pricing. So just some advantages to working with our agency. You've got an insider working on your behalf. You've got all of my expert planning assistance. I know that one size doesn't fit all, so it's a very consultative planning process. And of course, we have a low price guarantee. You're never going to pay more booking through our agency. As a matter of fact, you are probably going to save money because we've negotiated special rates. And help is just a phone call away. No long hold times or queues. So let's first talk about what the expedition experience is. So it's very different from a traditional cruise, and Steve and I are all about traditional cruises, but we love expedition experience too. So on a traditional cruise, you're going to have, a couple thousand of your best friends on the cruise with you. You're going to have very short stays in port, maybe 8 a.m. in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon would be a long extended time in port. You have got over the top entertainment. You're on a floating resort. There's Broadway shows and all those kind of things. And if you go to these remote destinations, like say Antarctica, a lot of these cruise ships go to Antarctica, or they go to Alaska and they're cruising along the glaciers. Well, it's just scenic sailing experiences. You don't get to get off the ship and experience the destination in full. With Aurora Expeditions, you're going to be 120 guests or less. Our Northwest Passage had 39 guests, so it's a very intimate experience. You're on a modern, purpose-built, polar class, first-year icebreaker ship. So it is made for that purpose of getting into these remote destinations. And it is all about giving you that complete immersive experience in the destination. You could have 2 to 3 landing opportunities or 2 to 3 Zodiac cruises opportunities per day. So you're really having that immersive experience. And it's all focused on the wildlife and the beauty, and in some cases, some of the culture, but mostly wildlife and beauty of the area.
And some
So,
history, some old mining
and
history
history.
on the site.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the other thing. There's a very interesting history in Svalbard. So, our transition, we've done 75 plus traditional cruises. And in the summer of 2023, we had a traditional cruise booked to Svalbard. Well, Norway banned the large ships from Svalbard. So that meant we couldn't go there. So we looked into finding something else that would take us to Svalbard, because it was kind of always on our bucket list. And we saw that Aurora had this amazing Svalbard in-depth expedition. And we took the plunge and took it. And since then we've done at least one expedition, sometimes 2 expedition cruises per year. We've gone with Silver Sea, we've done Galapagos with Celebrity, we've done Iceland with Lindblad and Nat Geo, we did the South Pacific and Chile with Seabourn, and then we just did the Northwest Passage with Aurora. And going with them again after having traveled with those other expedition companies, it really confirmed in our mind that Aurora provides an amazing experience, a superior destination immersion experience than some of their competitors. They're just more into it. I guess that would be the way to put it. So people also ask me, who can enjoy an expedition cruise. So we had people in their late 80s on our Northwest Passage cruise. So all ages, we'd say that you should be in generally good health because you're traveling to a very remote part of the world. You need to be average fitness, but the activities are tailored towards your fitness level and maybe your level of exertion that you want to do in a particular day. You should be able to climb stairs. The shore activities are, like I said, divided into beachcombers, where you don't go on a walk at all, maybe a medium walk and a long walk. And then there's also Zodiac rides, and all you need to be able to do is step in and out of the Zodiac and sit comfortably for an hour and a half, however long the Zodiac ride is. And even our senior couple, they did just fine with just about everything. So it really is something that you just need to be in general good health to enjoy an expedition. And we just got back. We were the 100th passenger vessel to complete the historic Northwest Passage. So we just went all the way from Nuuk, Greenland, all the way up into the Arctic. We visited some of the sites of the failed Franklin expedition. We went into the Beaufort Sea and all the way to Nome. So it was a completely amazing experience. They'd offer it as a 29-day, and then they also have a shorter one that just does kind of the eastern end of the Northwest Passage. Here's just some of those pictures that we took. I just wanted to share that with you because we had a completely amazing experience. But I know you joined this webinar because you wanted to learn about Aurora and about Svalbard. So I have a quick video that I'm going to show you that talks about their wild places that they go in the Arctic and beyond. That's Svalbard. Also Svalbard. Svalbard. That's Svalbard. That's Svalbard. Also Svalbard. I love that little highlight reel because a lot of that was actually filmed on our 2023 adventure in Svalbard. Those polar bears and the walruses, I was right there. So I love that little short video. So we are going back because we love Svalbard so much, June 24th to July 4th of 2027. And we are going to experience that wild and beautiful Arctic with Svalbard. It's the 12-night Svalbard Odyssey. It says it's round trip Oslo because we take a charter flight that is included from Oslo to Longyearbyen in Svalbard, and then do the cruise, and then they have a charter flight that goes back to Oslo. So the good thing is for arranging your flights, you only have to get yourself as far as Oslo. Why we choose to partner with Aurora Expeditions. Number one is that destination immersion experience. With their limited number of passengers, they are really able to get you ashore and experiencing everything to the fullest for the maximum amount of time. We've been on other expedition cruise lines that carry more passengers and they have to do split landing. So that means that only half of the passengers can be off the ship at a time. They have 120 passenger capacity, but they usually cap it because they do have solo travelers as well at about 100 when they are going to these Arctic places. We have, I should put it this way, exclusive contracted savings for people who join our group. So you're going to get a great price. Another reason we partner with them is they are known for their environmental stewardship. They are I'll go into that, but they are very, very shepherds of the environment. And again, that previous experience we had with them in the Arctic. Now we have a little interview with Howard, who was our expedition director on our original Svalbard cruise. He's a very interesting man. He has partially climbed Mount Everest. He was with the team that summited from Australia, but he was on a camera crew, so he had to stay, didn't hit the summit. He had to stay below. He actually did pre-production work for the movie Happy Feet, which is animated, taking place in Antarctica. And he went down and did a lot of the filming that they used then to create the animation sequences. So here's Howard talking about Svalbard.
I would travel to Svalbard because it's an incredible opportunity to get very close to the North Pole because we can go as far north on that trip as we can on just about any trip we do, above 80 degrees for the most part. You are entering polar bear country. This is it dictates how we run our trips. It dictates how we run our landings. Everything. It's all about being in this other world. Svalbard has got the great walrus haulouts. They're just incredible. It's got beautiful walks that you can do. But it also has got after Antarctica and Greenland, it's got the third largest ice cap in the world. It's got huge bird cliffs, and it's got such a diversity of landings and history of exploration and hunting and trapping and the whole thing. It's just incredible.
Right. I hope you enjoyed that with Howard. He's an incredible, interesting person. Expect the unexpected. This was our very first date out. Those are beluga whales, and that is how close we got. So amazing experiences there. This is some of my own video of the walrus haulouts. Of course, I'm zoomed in. We're not quite that close, but just amazing things. And then some of the scenery. This is at Monaco Breen. We were at the Texas Bar is what it's called, where I took that video. And here's another video that's also at Monaco Breen. Incredible scenery there. I can't even begin to talk about how beautiful it is. And I actually have a picture of that glacier and those mountains framed it's hanging in my house. That's one that I got blown up for me. Okay, so now I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about what you can expect from Aurora Expeditions and tell you a little bit about their history. They are an award-winning expedition cruise line. And let's talk about how they started. So they started over 33 years ago with Greg Mortimer, who was a famous mountaineer and adventurer from Australia. He started taking friends and family down to Antarctica, and he would charter these old Russian icebreakers. And for years, that's how they did it. And just in 2019, they got their first purpose-built ship. So they are founding members of both the Antarctic and the Arctic kind of protection bodies, IATO and IACO. They have the innovation of being one of the first to adopt the X-Bow ships, and I'll show you a little bit about that. But really great company. And again, they are so much about giving you that life-changing experience. They are a certified B Corporation, it's a certification for for-profit companies by B Labs. And that's a nonprofit company that measures a company's social and environmental performance standards against the impact that they have. And there are over 6,000 certified B corporations in 180 countries. And Aurora is very happy to have this distinction. It shows their commitment to the environment and to sustainability. One of the things that they do is they have citizen science on board, and we got to participate in this in a couple of different places in both Svalbard, but also in the Arctic when we were just there on our Northwest Passage. They do things like cloud studies. You can upload your pictures to Happy Whales. They do these weather patterns. They do seabird counts. They have a little chance for a little science where they can scoop up some plankton, and you can go in the lab and look at it and see what it looks like. But one of the big things that they're doing is their beach cleanups. And we participated in that in both Svalbard and also in the Arctic. They also do these microplastic studies. So they are taking soil samples, bringing them on board, analyzing them, and talking about the microplastics in the environment. So just a little bit about their citizen science program, but also they include a lot of activities on board. So these are always included. Everything is included with your cruise. You've got the Zodiac cruises, walks and hikes and landings. You've got an expert photographer who also gives photography lectures and also gives you pointers. You always have an opportunity to sign up for the photography Zodiac, where the photographer is going to be driving and giving a little coaching. They also do the polar plunge. They have expert lecturers that talk about everything from flora to fauna to history. And that is one of the things that made such a big difference on the cruise that we just did, how wonderful those experts were. They do bird watching and then other citizen science program. And also you're going to visit historic sites. And believe it or not, Svalbard, which never had a native human population, actually has some really interesting history that goes back to the time of whaling and hunting and trapping. These are optional activities that Aurora offers. They don't offer any of these in Svalbard except for the kayaking. It would not be really a good idea to be snorkeling or diving in polar bear country, and they don't do the skiing or the snowboarding. So they do that kind of in Antarctica in the early season. But they do have a lot of great programs, and believe me, you will not be bored. If you sign up for the kayak program, it is for the entire expedition. They fit your kayak and your suit to you, and you have your dedicated kayak that you go out on every day that they are able, the weather's permitting, to do a kayak excursion. And there's a picture of some folks that we know doing their kayaking. They also do hikes. This, I believe, is in Antarctica because in the Arctic, you do not hike on a foggy day. And the reason is you don't want to run into a polar bear. The expert guides. So this is the other thing that makes Aurora such a great company, is they have people from all different walks of life that are all adventurers that love sharing their life experiences with you, their love for animals, their love for geology, photography, whatever it is that they're an expert in. And they are very dedicated to their craft. The expedition team is going to have over 100 years of combined experience in the expedition arena. Like I said, you're going to have naturalists, marine biologists, geologists, historian, and they do have a lot of gender diversity. About 25% of their expedition leaders, as a matter of fact, our expedition leader for our Arctic one that we just did was Ashley, and she is one of their female expedition leaders, and their staff is about 47% female. So women at the top of their field, women and men at the top of their field are all working with Aurora Expeditions. They have 3 ships. So the 2 ships that are currently in the water sailing now are the Greg Mortimer and the Sylvia Earle, and our cruise will be again on the Sylvia Earle, and that's the cruise we were just on 2 weeks ago, and then the one that we were on in 2023. We're going on the Greg Mortimer to Antarctica in February of this year. But in 2025, I think they're doing their sea trials right now. They're going to launch the Douglas Mawson. So this is a growing company that offers all these wonderful experiences. So let's talk a little bit about our ship. This is the Sylvia Earle. This is one of my own pictures from that expedition that we did. And I say they average about 100 passengers or fewer. This is what the rooms look like. So a far cry from that old Russian icebreaker that they used to have. This is your standard balcony cabin room, plenty of space, lots of storage, and nice sized bathrooms. I'll show you those in a little bit. There's the observation lounge, which is a wonderful place to sit and look for whales and other wildlife all during the day and night. And there's a big deck out there that you can go out on.
Night while we're up there, though.
Yeah, there won't be any night. So we're going to be there in midnight sun. So that's the nice thing, is you could be sitting up here at 10 p.m. and spot a whale, and the ship will turn and stop for a minute so you can see those whales. The bathrooms, I love this. They all have heated flooring. So if your socks or your gloves get a little bit wet in your morning excursion, you can just put them out on the floor, flip them over a couple times, and they'll be dry. And I didn't even realize this. The shower floor is also heated. So if you run out of space out there, as long as you don't turn on the water in your shower, it's also a great place to dry your things. This is the lecture hall. So plenty of room for everyone on the ship and screens everywhere. So no matter where you're seated, you can see the presentation. This is their citizen science lab, and the library is just up those stairs. It's a beautiful scenic place, and during the midnight sun, you can even be here in the middle of the night and be looking out and seeing scenery. If you need to work out and the kayaking and the hikes are not enough for you, they have a fully equipped gymnasium, very nice gymnasium with a sauna and a spa. They also have this dedicated mudroom, and I can't say enough about the mudroom setup. I have been on other expedition ships where you kind of had to come down to the mudroom dressed and then just put your boots on, or even put your boots on in your room and walk down the hall. This is nice. You store your boots in your own locker. Your life jacket gets stored there. You can come down just kind of dressed in your layers and get your final preparation done in there. There's benches to sit down. There's boot pullers, so you can pull your muck boots on and off. And there's room for everyone in this room. So it's not overcrowded. This is just a wonderful feature. And it's because these ships were purpose built, they have this dedicated mudroom. These zodiacs are located on the back of the ship and not on the top many decks up. So it's much easier for them to use the cranes, and you'll see those in the next picture. See those cranes to get the Zodiacs in and out? It's a quicker operation. We've been on other ships where they were retrofit for Zodiacs, and it's a much more tedious process for them to get the Zodiacs in and out of the water. So again, that gives you more time in your destination. What's the atmosphere on light? It is relaxed and casual and friendly. And Steve, I swear that looks like Solvi in the pink hat there, not in the pink jacket, but I think that's Solvi. And anyway, one of our expedition team. Relaxed, friendly. You interact with the expedition team. They dine with you. You can pick their brains about whatever you've been looking at and seeing, or talk, or share stories. It's great fun. They always have a picnic outdoors once, and they usually try to do it when there's good weather. But you can see this must be Antarctica. Then there's not always good weather there. So, but let's talk about the difference that Aurora makes. So again, they have a positive impact on travel. They have those small purpose-built ships, so they're not too crowded. They have like education and enrichment on board, more time off the ship, the world's leading activity program, and again, those expert guides. They are just, and it just makes for an incredible experience. This again is another picture from my expedition that we took in 2023. And I put it as a background for what the included extras are. So you get a pre-voyage accommodation in Oslo. You're going to get that charter flight to Longyearbyen and all your airport transfers to and from. And in some destinations, and it would depend on what time we arrive in Longyearbyen, but I believe the plan is for us to do a short tour, probably visit the museum and maybe go out and see the one of the dog sledding setups. No time to dog sled, but you can go see some of the sled dogs in Svalbard. So those are all things that are included as extras as part of your cruise fare. And these are all the things that are sort of their normal inclusions, all, of course, your shore excursions. They include house drinks, which is beer and wine with dinner.
Oh,
They
but
have
eat at lunch too if you want.
Yeah, with lunch. And this is the other thing, Starlink Wi-Fi. We were on that ship for 28 days, and I ran my business the entire time from the ship. So the Wi-Fi was good enough for me to do voice calling, post videos on YouTube. It was like I wasn't even away from home. So the Wi-Fi is very good. You get the jacket and you can keep it or you can donate it back, but you get the jacket to take home. You get the muck boots to use. They don't charge a rental fee for the muck boots. Other expedition companies do. They have a professional photographer that gives you pictures from your voyage to take home with you. And then they even send you about 6 weeks later a coffee table book with all the highlights of your expedition. The port charges, permits, landing fees, those are all taken care of. You don't have to worry about any of that. I mean, you just get on the ship and go. And these are some of my personal pictures from our cruise there in 2023. I'll go through these really quickly because I already had some of them. I wanted everyone to see where Svalbard is because a lot of people are not quite sure where it is. So you can see there's the north part of Norway. This is the northeast part of Greenland, and here's Svalbard way up here. Longyearbyen is the northernmost inhabited place in the world. So And it enjoys actually pretty good weather year round, despite the fact that it's in darkness 6 months of the year. And when we're there in June and July, it'll be 24-hour sun. So that's something that's really interesting. So no matter what the weather's like, it's going to be beautiful. You get to see glaciers and do these zodiac rides, which are just incredible. Spectacular scenery. And I don't know if you can see in this picture here, but those are all guillemots, which are seabirds that breed. The only time they come ashore is to lay their eggs and breed, and they lay their eggs on these cliff sides. You can see all the guana there on the cliff side. It is amazing to see them, and they usually leave about the end of July, August. So we will be there during prime time, and those are again some of my pictures of those birds, and it is like seabird central. So if you were into birds, which I was not, but I'm kind of getting into them now that I've been going on these Arctic expeditions. It's really an incredible sight to see everything. Walruses, look at this. These are all walruses hauled out on sea ice, and whales. So, it's hard to get a really good picture of a whale, but this is a blue whale, and these are beluga whales. So you will see some of those while we are on our cruise. And then they also have the polar plunge. I don't know what I was thinking because I did it in 2023. So it's pretty cool. That is the polar ice cap that is right behind me in that background, that white wall that you see. It was so cold. Oh, there it is. We got the video of me doing it. This proof that's.
Keep smiling, Suzanne.
She's so dumb. It's the dumbest thing I've ever done.
1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, and I'm going, please get me out of this water. If you count me, it seems like an eternity in that water. It really did. Some people were more brave than me. This is Ronnie. He lives in Svalbard, so we'll have to go say hi to him while we're up there. They always have a crazy hat party and a barbecue, and so you get to wear fun, crazy hats. And I'm channeling my inner Viking. I got my Norg knit hat on and my Viking horns. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. That barbecue was really incredible. They have wonderful international food, attentive service. You just always feel so taken care of. And by a couple days into the crew, your entire staff. So they do have a traditional wait staff and housekeeping crew like you would have on a large cruise ship, but they also have their expedition team, which is sort of their entertainment team. So it's a little bit different, but look, the food is beautifully presented. You won't go hungry. And it's not quite as many choices as you would have on a 2,000 person ship. They're making food for fewer people, but everything is delicious, and you always have a choice of a meat entree, a fish entree, a vegetarian entree, and a pasta dish with lunch and dinner. So lots of choices. And I'm nervous about getting in and out of Zodiac. And I just want to show how simple it is and how well you're taken care of. It's just a simple step in and out. So you have an AB, which is short for able-bodied seaman, behind you, helping you in, and then you have your Zodiac expedition staff person. They grab your hand. It's really easy in and out of the Zodiacs. This is just a picture of where we went on that cruise. I don't think this map is a complete map. We ended up going all the way up here. Where's the ice cap? We shot through here. We went up in here, all the way around. Every expedition to Svalbard would be different. And that's one of the reasons we were happy to go back again, because we may go to completely different landing sites. The ice and the weather dictate where you'll go. And the expedition team is going to be working super hard to make sure that they take you to the most interesting site and that you have the most interesting experiences. And here's a look at our expedition team on that Svalbard. This is Heather. She was an expert on polar bears and geology, and the entire team, the kayaking team, the photography team, everybody. This is
all right.
Our video.
This is our room on Sylvia Earle. There's all of our stuff,
including
including our complimentary jacket and reusable water bottles. And then we have the nice Arctic scene here behind the bed, and then behind the sofa we have some penguins, because the ship does Antarctica in our winter, their summer. We have a nice walkout balcony here. Desk, storage. Is this a mini fridge? Yeah, we got a little mini fridge in there. Storage here. And then I'm gonna go show the bathroom. Nice size bathroom. All right. Here's a look at the bathroom. There I am. Look at there. Nice big shower.
It is a big shower.
So very, very nice accommodations. Nice big closet here. I think we're going to be very comfortable on this ship for the next 11.
Right. So I hope that gives you an idea of the comfort that and the size of the room. Our experience was amazing. This was our very first expedition experience. Look at this. You can tell. Look at the smiles on our faces. We're just having the time of our lives, experiencing all that there was to see in Svalbard. So this is one of the reasons that Aurora has become our preferred vendor for all of our Arctic and Antarctic polar, I guess polar would be the overarching term, expeditions. And we're taking a group to Antarctica in 26. We have group rates for 27, and then we're doing this Arctic group in 2027 as well. So talk to you a little bit more about Svalbard. I hope I'm getting you as excited about this as I am. Notice this is your itinerary. It's just a big circle. We could be doing anywhere and doing anything. It's all going to be dictated by the ice and the weather. And here's Heather, one of our expedition guides, talking about Svalbard.
My name's Heather. I've been working for Aurora. This is my 3rd season, and I am a naturalist. There's many things about the Arctic that excite me, and I would have to say maybe top of the list would be the wide open spaces and the feeling that while there's been humans up here, it's very few compared to other places, and on top of that, the amazing wildlife. I love everything about working with the team. We have a lot of fun. Everybody works hard. Everybody is kind of expected to do well and do their best at their jobs, and so everybody does. If you're on the fence about coming to visit the Arctic, then I would say if you don't try it, you'll never know whether you would like it or not. So my personal advice would be go for it. I think you'll find it pretty special. One fun fact about Svalbard. Goodness me, of the 3,000 bears in the Barents Sea population, only 300 of them use Svalbard, and yet still we go searching for them and often find them.
Right. So I hope you enjoyed hearing from
My name's Heather.
We'll move on to the next slide. So this is our journey, June 24th to July 4th. Again, you arrive in Oslo, fly to Longyearbyen. You have day 3 to 9 in Svalbard with your expert experience, and then you disembark. Little free time in Longyearbyen, and then we fly back to Oslo. This is the categories that I'm holding in my group space. I have special group pricing on. They're all similar in size and design. The difference is just the location on the ship. Are they on deck 4, forward or aft? Are they on deck 6? They tend to be about 224 to 301 square feet. That's going to be your room and your balcony space combined. But there are some larger rooms. This is the superior balcony, and notice that this has a much larger balcony and the bed faces out. It also has a accessible bathroom. So if you had someone who wanted to do something like this and they need an accessible bathroom, they can accommodate them in one of these rooms. They have a junior suite. This is a 2-room suite. It's very large with a very large balcony again. And then the captain suite is similar 2-room suite with the large balcony as well. Here's a little look at the deck plan so you kind of get an idea of where everything is. This is mostly crew quarters down on deck 3. Your mud room is also down on deck 3. If you are on deck 4, which is where we like to be, you walk straight out of your room and you head straight back, and then you go down the stairs to the mud room. So it makes it very easy to get down to that mud room to get off the ship. If you're on deck, let's see, no, that's deck 4. Here, excuse me, deck 4, and then the mud rooms in the back of deck 3. Then there's also deck 6 and deck 7. The observation lounge is up here on the top deck. Deck 5 has the pool, so it's nice layout. You can see it's very, very compact and comfortable You don't ever have to walk all, it's not like you have to walk a whole football field to get somewhere on the ship. So here's our pricing. So we've negotiated some really good rates, and these rates, if you compare them to the 26 pricing, they're even better than what they're currently selling the 2026 pricing for. So this is priced per person based on double occupancy or single share. They also do have special solo pricing. So if you are a solo traveler, let me know. It is not 200%, as long as they have some of those solo cabins available. And the solo cabins are really, they're just the same. They're just designated as solo cabins. I think some of the solo cabins might be porthole cabins, but again, we can check on what's available if you're interested in doing it. And if you're interested in doing some of those larger suites, call for pricing. Again, I want to review all the inclusions.
Go back, Suzanne, go back.
Oh, wait, okay, sure, yeah.
So I just wanted to point out the savings column compared to Aurora Direct. And then you should talk about the webinar promotion too.
Oh, yes, I almost skipped that, yes. So if you book by October 16th, it is a $250 per person onboard credit. You can use that towards your bar bill. That would be for drinks purchased outside of meal times. You can use that in the gift shop or in the spa. They also have a massage therapist on board that does all kinds of different treatments for you. So sometimes after those long days of hiking, carrying a backpack, you might be ready for a massage. That's a great thing to use it on. Anything else you want to point out on this page, Steve? Okay, I'm going to move on. So in that price, I want to point out everything that's included: transfers, your one-night hotel in Oslo, including breakfast, your transfers to the Oslo airport, and your charter flight to Longyearbyen, all your accommodations during your voyage, including cabin service. You get meals, snacks, tea, coffee, beer, house wine, soft drinks. It's a very inclusive. Now the beer and house wine is included with meals. The soft drinks are also included with meals. I think I would have a Coke Zero every day with my meal. Muck boots, Starlink, comprehensive pre-departure information, and all the permits, landing fees. So it really is an all-inclusive package. There are a few things that are additional. So obviously you've got to fly to Oslo, unless you live there, but you've got to fly to Oslo. They do have gratuities for that wonderful dining and hotel hospitality staff on board the ship. That's $15 per person per day, and that covers all those people that you interact with at your meals and the person who cleans your cabin. The kayaking is an add-on full itinerary activity, and I can give you a price for that if you're interested in doing that. And then your alcoholic beverages outside of meal times are not included, but they have some packages. So you can buy 6 drinks for the price of 10. So that basically gives you
10 for the price of 6.
10 for the price of 6. Yes, I'm sorry, I had the other way around. 10 for the backwards math. I was doing blind math. Anyway, 10 for the price of 6. So that basically gives you 40% off. I hope that's good math. 40% off your drinks if you buy a package, and you can use it until it runs out and buy another one. So I wanted to encourage you to book now. We're going to have the best selection and best pricing right now. We have this exclusive pricing due to our very strong relationship with Aurora Expeditions. Like I said, we've been partnering with them since 2023 when we did our first expedition with them. If you're interested in doing, I will block your room and send you a detailed invoice so you can see everything. And then a $2,500 per person deposit will be due within 7 days of you receiving that invoice. I need to stress this: deposits are completely non-refundable. Small ship cruise company with only 3 ships, they can't afford to have, they can't replace you if you book and then you cancel last minute and are getting a refund. So they're non-refundable, but we've had several people that life happened. They had a grandbaby on the way, or they had just a change in health conditions that didn't permit them to go to Antarctica. And we worked with Aurora to get them moved to a different ship and sail date. And they moved that entire deposit over to that different ship and sail date. So if you are, if you're a little bit nervous about it being non-refundable, they do try to work with you to move it to a different date. They also do Mediterranean expeditions, Scotland, Costa Rica. So there are some places besides the Arctic to which you could move that if you decided that just an expedition to a far off place wasn't quite right for you. Your final payment is going to be due just 90 days before sailing. There's other expeditions that either make you pay 120 or a full year in advance. So just 90 days before sailing. They do require that you get a $250,000 emergency evacuation travel protection policy. And I've priced those out at different sites. I don't sell one that meets the requirements, and Aurora does not sell one. So you do have to go through third party, but you can shop with your local insurance broker. You can shop online, and I've seen it depending on what level of coverage and your age, $75 to $300 per person. So really a drop in the bucket when you talk about what you're spending on this entire expedition. In August of 2026, that's when we can add your air to Oslo. So I can't really give you an estimate depending on your gateway, you know, 1,000 to 1,500 a person to fly from the US to Oslo. That's just a guesstimate based on current pricing. And then if you book by October 16th, which I hope you will, you're going to get that extra $250 of onboard credit. So again, here's a look at that pricing. We do offer you a tremendous savings over booking with Aurora directly. And that's, again, it's because of that strong relationship. We've negotiated a group rate. We want you to come. We want you to come with us. So we're going to give you an incentive to come with us. Plus, you'll get that $250 per person onboard credit if you book by October 16th. Now, really quickly, we just want to show you we are not one-trick wonders. We do a lot of different types of cruising. We do have several other expeditions with Aurora. So we are going to Antarctica in 2026. I believe that there's still 1 or 2 cabins available. Now, somebody could have called and booked them this morning, but if you're interested in joining us, they are doing 20% off right now, and it is a tremendous savings. You know, when you're looking at $15K per person for Antarctica, crossing the Arctic Circle, that is a really, really good price. We also have groups for Aurora in 2027. So we have a new group in 2027. We have across the Antarctic Circle and the extensive journey. It's over 20 days, Falkland Islands, South Georgia, Antarctic Peninsula on the new Douglas Mawson ship. If you're interested in going to Antarctica, but you don't want to get off and walk around, you're more of a luxury cruise kind of person, want a big ship with the big ship experience, we do have some sailings on Celebrity and Holland America that include the Antarctic experience. It is walking around. It is not walking around. It is scenic sailing only. We've done that twice. It was wonderful enough that we wanted to come back and walk around. So we actually loved it. We do escorted European river cruises. So we've got one going to Amma in just in a month, November of 2025, and we have some last minute availability on that. And we also have some romantic Rhine with Lucerne and Lake Como in August of 2026. We are escorting this Scandinavian capitals with Holland America, a lot of great cities that we're going to see. And you can even add this 6 or 7 night Globus Best of Norway extension to that. So we partner with both of those companies to give you both a land and sea experience in the Nordic countries or the Baltic countries. 28 night round trip Alaska from Seattle with Holland America. Again, a traditional cruising experience, but you do go up to the Arctic Circle and you visit Nome. We did this cruise in June. We visited Nome. We did the Northwest Passage, visited Nome. So we went to Nome twice in 1 year. It was an incredible experience. If you are an amateur astronomer enthusiast and you like solar eclipses, we still have good pricing at group rates. This price is a total price for 2 people in a balcony cabin for this total solar eclipse cruise on the Celebrity, again, traditional big cruise ship type experience. We are escorting the 35-night voyage of the Vikings with the solar eclipse. And the key about that one is it is Boston round trip, no overseas flight required. So again, if any of these are catching your eye, we have a lot. We don't want you to think we're one-trick wonders. We have Windstar, small ship cruising, and Azamar, small ship cruising in the Mediterranean. You can do these back to back, and I'll put a custom package together for you in Greece for the 4 days in between. And we are super excited that we are doing our very first American Cruise Line group cruise. I've had clients do this. They have been so enthusiastic about the product. we knew we wanted to do this river cruising on the Columbia and Snake Rivers. And if you're into Northern Lights, we're not going to see them in Svalbard because it's 24-hour sun. So why not join us for this Holland America cruise, Chasing Northern Lights in October of 27. We go all the way up to the top Arctic part of Norway, and it will be dark because it's October, and we will have a really, really good chance in those 2 weeks to see some Northern Lights. So I'm going to end this with a couple of my favorite picture of Svalbard. Another name for Svalbard is also Spitsbergen. That's one of the islands that's there. And Spitsbergen translates into the land of the pointy mountains. So you can see how this beautiful place got its name. That is at the Monaco Breen Glacier in Spitsbergen. And these were the bears that we saw. Now, what we'll do on our expedition is we will head out into the Arctic ice. We have to go 12 miles outside of Spitsbergen, Svalbard, and then we can go into the ice, and you kind of just park. We were probably over 400 yards away when we saw these bears, and this was taken by one of the professional photographers with a really good zoom camera. Or is this one of mine, Steve? Do you know?
I don't know.
It looks a little foggy, so it might be mine. I had a zoom camera, but if it's really good, I try not to claim it as mine, so I'm not sure. But anyway, it is a tremendous experience to go to Svalbard. You will never feel the same way about the planet after you have been up into this Arctic region and see how all of these animals not only survive, but thrive in that cold environment. So if you are interested, we want you to give us a call. I will be glad to put a complete quote together for you on this or any other polar voyage with Aurora Expeditions. You're going to save thousands of dollars a person on our group, with our group rates on our escorted voyages, and you get that $250 per person onboard credit if you book by October 16th. We have a low price guarantee, and of course, you're going to get all my concierge service and my personalized consultation. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions. So if anybody has a question,
remember you're muted, so you'll have to unmute yourself.
Just unmute, and I will be glad to answer any questions, or you can put it in the chat box, either one.
So Suzanne and Steve, if you had the option of going to the Arctic or the Antarctic, which would you prefer?
Well, that's probably a slightly loaded question since we've done 2 expeditions in the Arctic. We've only done scenic sailing in Antarctica. So Antarctica, with our expedition in February they're doing, is going to have to be quite amazing to surpass Svalbard. I'll say it that way.
Yeah, people ask us all the time, what was your favorite cruise that you've ever done? And I just look at them with this big heart full of love, and I say Svalbard, because I've never seen scenery like that. Some of the traditional cruises that go to Alaska talk about 2 or 3 glacial experiences during your cruise. In Svalbard, you have 2 or 3 glacial experiences every day. And you get to go out and hike some of these sites. You get to see, like what's behind me, these amazing bird cliffs. So there's scenery and wildlife. In that short video I showed at the beginning, were some kit foxes. We saw several Arctic foxes on that trip. I would say the breadth of wildlife in the Arctic is a little bit broader than what you see in Antarctica, because in Antarctica you have penguins, whales, and seals. In the Arctic, you have nesting birds that are flying birds. You've got all different kinds of whales that you don't see in Antarctica, and the polar bears. Of course, a polar bear is a good thing when you're on your ship or your Zodiac and you see one. It's not a good thing when you're landing and they're like, oh, polar bear, we're not landing today. But the thing about that is you just get back on your Zodiac and they take you for a scenic Zodiac cruise to see the same thing. So you may not be able to walk around the land because there's a polar bear, but you get to see the polar bear and you get to take this wonderful Zodiac cruise. So it's pretty darn spectacular. Like I said, we're going to Antarctica to do the expedition in in February, and as Steve said, it's got to be pretty spectacular to top Svalbard.
Thanks.
And we had a friend that did a Svalbard expedition, and they woke them up in the middle of the night, and they say, "Go, please go out on the deck on the starboard side, on the ice. There are two polar bears mating," and he got pictures of it. So there's always something unexpected that you can see in Svalbard.
Did you do the kayaking?
No, I am not. They'd like you to be at least a somewhat experienced kayaker. And, I get in my kayak and paddle around the lake for an hour. I don't really think that's experience. But the people that did do it, they loved it. We had a group of about 8 that did it on the Northwest Passage cruise. And let me tell you, those people got to be so close because every day they were doing these experiences together, except for when the weather was too windy, and then they didn't do it. They did the Zodiac cruises, and I really didn't meet a lot of them until towards the end of the cruise, and they were just lovely people to talk. So, but the people who have done the kayaking have loved it. But I did the polar plunge. Does that count for anything?
Yeah, I prefer being in the Zodiac and someone drive me around and doing all the work myself.
All right. Are there any other questions? Dennis and Lois, I have you on the phone. Do you guys have any questions?
Oh, they left the meeting.
Oh, they left already. Okay. Maybe. No questions. Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay. I can hang up on the phone because they're gone from here.
I'm gonna stop.
All right. Well,